First of all, where is the job description? It is mandatory, I can say. For sure, there are some fundamentals in a CV and a structure of a CV. It is very important to have the job description because recruiter can review, or hiring manager, or ATS, which people know as AI, is reviewing your CV. The most important thing is to tailor-make your CV because they have a job position in their mind. They are looking for a perfect candidate for that role. They have very limited time. It doesn't matter AI or recruiter or hiring manager. It's 6 seconds to review a CV. What they are looking for, they will focus most. So it's important to have in the beginning in your CV what they are looking for actually. As a candidate, if you put yourself in a position of recruiter, it will be more easy to understand. That's why to really tailor-make your CV based on job description is mandatory. I know candidates hate to do it. There are 2 reasons actually why they hate. One of them, they think it's a big issue. Each time there are hundreds of positions there. Each time I need to generate CV. But it's not. I always start with doing this with my clients. General CV, like all details included CV, then to tailor-made. And tailor-made here is a very important part, is not cheating. It is just to emphasize things that you have for the role more in your CV and remove all others. Okay, as a waiter. First, it is started with a name. I would prefer to see his name and surname at the same time. It's a legal topic. Small but big. Why I said this, actually, I had experienced that the candidate only write his name without surname. Is it a real candidate or not? So first, contact information to make it, especially phone number and email, to really write it, to check it if it's right or not is very important. I had experience missing numbers, missing emails, and to have a professional email is important. And again, a small point, I'm going too detailed, but those are important. For example, some of my clients are living, for example, in Netherlands. They are looking for a job in Germany. Recruiters are checking location. So if they have an address in Germany, my recommendation would be not to add their current address, but the location's address. Maybe you have already a family and you plan to move to live with this family, or you already have plans to move and you will stay together with your friends, for example. So if you're looking for a job in a location, and if you have a kind of address to declare in that location, that is the best way.
Really? Because, for instance, in the job I had as hiring manager, it's an international company. We hire from everywhere in the world, and we provide relocation bonuses as well for the people who's relocating.
Yes.
And for us, it's also important to know if they really live already in Germany or if they live already in Bremen, let's say, the city hiring. I don't want them to lie.
No, it is not lying.
If you are not living there, why?
If you are not living, but if you already have plans. One of my clients, for example, she was living in Turkey, but she time to time come to Germany, and she already make all preparations to live in Germany. She has an address, she planned to live with her friend in Germany. That's not lying, actually. That is reality.
Because that person is already going there.
Yes, and she already made all of her plans to live with her friend, but her address was Turkey. In Germany, most of the time, when they see the address as Turkey, recruiters or hiring managers are thinking, okay, she doesn't have work permission. Is she going to need a work permission? It depends on position. It depends on company, for sure. But if you do not have any relatives here, for sure, you have to give your real address. In my case, for example, I'm a Bulgarian citizen. So while looking for a job in Germany, I add to the top, within my name, I add EU citizen. Because my name is Turkish Bulgarian, my address was from Turkey. In that case, what is important with your name to add as a comment, really on the top, they can see that you have this EU citizenship. It is important. Then they will not assume if you are going to have a work permission or not, you will immediately eliminate this. Photo is very nice, very professional. Let me continue. Objective. I can provide excellent service, contribute to team, and yes, most of the time, objective is the first thing. Contact objective is a nice order. Then I would prefer to give summary of qualifications before experience. As HR, I would recommend summary of qualifications, not a lot, but really the key ones, what is included in job description to see on the top. If the job description needs some kind of program you need to know, some kind of critical experience you need to know, it's good to see summary of qualifications. If hiring manager told the recruiter he or she has to know SAP, or if the hiring manager said he has to know Python, he's searching for Python. And in summary of qualifications, really in the beginning, to see Python, they will have the check and they will continue. Objective is most of the time generalized. What would be better in objective to write 1, maximum 2 sentences. Like here, this candidate, for example, write what kind of position looking for, and the missing part is actually the contribution, to make it a little bit specific. Like here it is written, I can provide excellent service, contribute to a team, and grow within hospitality industry. Instead of generalize it, it would be very nice to give specific example. Based on my 8-year experience in service sector, I can contribute with customer satisfaction based on my service was 80%. Give some specific examples, more data-wise. Like, for example, in my case, I would write, in my career, I did 6,000 interviews. That will immediately show, wow, 6,000 interviews. Everyone is saying, I can provide excellent service. I can contribute to a team, but how? What is unique for you? I did 6,000 interviews, and at the same time, I'm a career coach. Something like this. I can facilitate any kind of executive level, something a little bit bold, not very general. Because recruiters are saying, to obtain a position as a waiter or barman, where can I provide? Like that. It's not anything interesting. Experience is good to have, but as I said, summary of qualifications would be better in which industry he has experience, what kind of contribution he gives, in which services, in hospitality or in restaurants, or in which industry it would be nice to see as a summary of qualifications. Then if I'm a hotel owner, probably in summary of qualifications, I would see, in hotel, he has a lot of experience, and this will hook me. Let me continue. And experience, it's nice to see the dates. What is missing here, for example, I always recommend to see the most recent one on the top, for sure, always. And so I was now mixed, like, what is this, 2021? Okay, the last one is here. So I prefer to see it on the top. And in some cases, he wrote months and years, in some only years. I always prefer to see months and years to understand if there is a gap or not. To have the gap is totally okay, by the way. And yes, he wrote the position. At the same time, he wrote the position bold, but I would like to see the company bold as well. And he wrote, let me check the experience in detail. Yes, details are very good here, for example. He wrote in detail what he did. Very specific, handled point of sale, transactions, returns and exchange efficiently and accurately. Manage inventory, restore merchandise. Those are very important details. I like to do it, but here 2 important points I can say. Again, to tailor-made those. If it's not related, all those experience with job description, I deleted them most of the time because they are non-relevant for this role. Don't make your CV long. And if you have a job gap, for example, some people make master degree or PhDs, to really write in between, you will write also in education for sure, but here in this gap, you can write, or personal reasons, and you can explain health issues, for example. And you can explain this in the interview for sure. I can't now read all the details for sure, but in experiences, I always prefer to see some numbers again, like what kind of projects you did. For example, in salesman or barman, I really wanted to see customer satisfaction. If you have a kind of unique point for you, because customer service and customer satisfaction is very important. As a barman, if you innovate something new, what unique you created in this organization? Again, it depends on job description actually. But as a barman, what is good here to see the trainings in food and beverage, for example, to see the passionate in hospitality, those were very good points. Developed custom cocktail menus with artistic presentation. Those are the very nice, unique points, for example, for a barman. It's interesting. In education, I would like to see a bachelor degree or business in marketing management, but I didn't see again the years. How many years did it take? Is it a bachelor degree or high school? Because there is only year 2023, but I would like to see the starting and ending date in education. Berlin School of Business and Innovation, Business and Marketing Management, okay. And there is here a number 62. Business and Marketing Management 62. What is this 62? I couldn't understand what is this. I don't recommend to add grades, first of all, because grades are really not a case anymore. In my career first times, we really check quality university, like well-known universities and grades, but it is less relevant. Skills are very important. I would like to see in skills, for example, something as customer satisfaction. Very important in this industry.
What about matching the objective he has with respect to the education he's writing there?
Maybe a sentence, why he chose that field, could be a good point to add in objective.
With the education that candidate has, would you think he should apply for positions related to the education, or he should remove irrelevant education for the position?
It depends on job description, really, which positions he is applying for. If he applied for salesman positions, Berlin School of Business and Innovation, it's quite okay. It's relevant. But if he's going to apply for
a waiter, business and logistics, or like for waiters, no, you don't need any education like that. Because to me, the point is people may think he may pursue a job related to that education and that this job would be only temporary, or he's overqualified. Some people say. So that's to me the concern of hiring those two.
Totally agree. He may be seen as overqualified. Yes, all education is for sure very important, but if you have a higher education and you applied for a position that no need for, it may be risk of seen as overqualified, then it would be very good to add to objective.
To add to objective, why he choose.
Yes, his main purpose. Okay. And in skills, for example, if in the job description they really emphasize of customer satisfaction, for example, assume that. In skills, you may have an online training. I always recommend to my clients, you can have an online training and add this to your skills. Or as a certificate, you can add this if it's important. And one of my clients did this and it really worked, by the way. Skills and certificates, I would like to see also here certificates. Interests, they can add interests, hobbies. Languages, I would prefer education, language, skills, and interests. Language, a little bit upper. Here, for example, the level of language is not written, so it's only written English, German, but what is the level of English, German? I would prefer to see fluent, great. But it's very structured, very professional, and all words are right.
For someone who wants to reach you to do this kind of assessment, what would be the first step and what they can expect from you?
Yes, we designed in FastForward-Institute a landing your job course so they can apply. It's a self-paced course, 9 module. And like I explain here, I explain the key points, fundamentals of CV preparation and also for interview. All modules from starting point to ending point, actually all modules are including recruitment steps. They can learn all those from the course. If they want tailor-made support, they can contact me to review CV, or if they need clarity, or if they only want to have interview preparation. But I highly recommend for interview preparation, for example, to make a mock-up interview with hiring manager and as HR. I highly recommend to get mock-up interview session from us, because as you saw here, you shared as hiring manager your perspective. As HR, I shared my perspective. So they can get coaching sessions, tailor-made services from us, or they can have the self-paced course, and they can have mock-up interview preparation from both of us. First, I would recommend to get the self-paced course. Then they will have chance to see what is my main need, what is my main difficulty, what is my biggest issue. The course also includes many questions, like coaching questions. Then, based on their needs, if they see that, okay, interviews are the difficulty in the recruitment process for me, then they can make the investment for interview preparation. Or if they said, okay, I don't know, I don't have clarity, I don't know where to start, or I don't know which position will be interesting for me, they can have one-on-one coaching session. My clients, most of the time I got the feedback, you really keep us on the way. I am for them like an accountable partner. Consistency in motivation, in application creates big difference. If you continue to apply every day, you will definitely have this interview in the end after 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But what I see, if you're alone in this recruitment process, in job application process, most of the time the tendency is postpone things. So if you want an accountable partner, it is also helpful to have one-on-one coaching from me or from you. Small things create big difference. That I always want to emphasize actually. Those small things are unique for you, so it is important to make this self-assessment. You know yourself better than anyone, but sometimes you are not aware about your strength points. Coaching supports you to see your strength points.
Something like you didn't mention more about tailoring the CV. You mentioned it a little bit, but I think that is very important, is to have a conversation to understand what is the experience of everyone, to see, because some people, and it's what you said right now, some people are not aware of their strengths. They assume something is not relevant, and sometimes it is. The opposite also sometimes happens. They think something is relevant and it is not, even it could be damaging. So it's good always to have this conversation, one-to-one conversation, to understand what is the experience, what is relevant or not for the position that they have interest, assuming they already have clarity, and then help them to tailor the CV precisely according to their strengths for the position they want.
Tailor-made is important because there are very different kind of topics for each candidate. Like here, there is a topic here in this last CV, for example, the sales or logistic issue, for example, what we are going to be. In the end, we are defining a kind of strategy with clients or with candidates. For other CV, for example, there are different kind of, always some unique points for each candidate. So I always recommend to make it tailor-made. For sure, you can first get the course. You can get support from AI for sure. It's working very well. I can share one example. Only one of my clients only got one session from me. She said, I can't invest a lot, only one session. And I asked her, what is most important thing for you? She said, my CV preparation. And we focused only to her CV, 1.5 hours. And what we did actually, her all very important projects hide in a lot of details. Key projects were in the end of her CV. We brought key projects to the top of the CV because for designer roles, what is very important to see what kind of projects she did. in yacht industry, for example, what kind of big projects she did or not. And she said, I got 2 interview offer in a week. Small changes, big differences, but always the issue is to think analytical. Okay, what is this industry looking for? And you can understand this from job description. And what should I emphasize? Again, this is the only point. If you can't invest anything, only point you do. If I sum up with very key 2 points, for example, if you are going to ask me, 1 point to tailor-made your CV. Another point, don't let AI to make your CV. It would be very general. Be sure that you also review the CV, because AI, what I see, always generalize. For example, this CV was prepared by AI and it add all key project to the end, like certification. Probably AI thought that those are certifications, but not. Those were very important key projects. And we added to the top. AI can prepare your CV, but be sure that you reviewed it.
Thank you very much for your assistance.
Wow, if the topic is my topic, it's so easy to speak and